want to discuss the recent events that happened in Los Angeles with the devastating fires. Obviously, there were entire neighborhoods that are just completely erased from the map. Now, I do want to premise this by saying I have friends that did lose their homes. They evacuated their house, and within half an hour, their entire home is burnt down to nothing. So my heart goes out to everyone that was involved. I know this is probably the most costly natural or at least wildfire disaster in US history, especially considering the neighborhoods that were just completely decimated, not to mention the commercial buildings as well. Now, I do want to talk about the real estate market impact on this because we have seen natural disasters before wipe out neighborhoods, wipe out small towns, and there were some ripple effects that happened in the real estate market in that area. Essentially, what we're likely going to see is majority of these people will go through insurance, try to get them to cover the entire rebuild cost. Now, insurance would likely be just a completely separate video. I know there's probably going to be battles with those homeowners and trying to get insurance to cover all the costs. I really hope for their sakes that they don't get screwed over by these insurance companies, because I know historically that has been a thing that has gone on. There are a multitude of individuals that have been affected by this fire. Obviously, there are the ultra wealthy neighborhoods, parts of Malibu, Pacific Palisades that were just decimated, and some of these homeowners will have second homes in the state that they can go to while they battle with insurance to try get the complete rebuild costs covered for them, and then just move into the home 2-3 years later once that is completed. The other handful of individuals will be people that have been living there for 20-30 years and have their entire life savings in their home, because as everyone is aware, the economy has been impacted, and majority of individuals who haven't been increasing their wages, such as retirees or maybe people in entry-level jobs, they have been struggling significantly over the last year or so. So those retirees who have been living there for the last 20-30 years, and like I mentioned, maybe they have their life savings in their home, they could be screwed. They can't just go buy another house, go move into another home. Their only option is to rent for a period of time, and as rent prices are pretty expensive in the area, they may have to move out of state or move to a more affordable part of California while they battle with insurance and try to get the complete rebuild cost covered. And I've seen a lot of people discuss the fact that home values will skyrocket because of this in the area, and I actually think the opposite. I want you to think for a moment, if you are going to buy in Southern California, obviously it's a great place, lots of people want to move here, would you buy in a place that has recently been just completely erased from the map? Would you even buy within half an hour of that place? Because there are neighborhoods in LA that weren't affected at all. But I personally, I wouldn't want to buy a home within 30 minutes of a neighborhood that was just completely decimated from a wildfire. I'd be scared it's going to happen to me if I move there. And for this reason, home insurance rates are going to skyrocket. What was already a state where home insurance companies were just pulling out, saying, fuck this, we're not going to insure those homes anymore, premiums are going to be significantly more expensive. And in an environment where mortgage rates are over 7% at the time of making this video, home values are almost at record highs in majority of Southern California, you already had home insurance premiums at an expensive rate because of all the disasters that have occurred in majority of California. This is going to jack insurance prices up even more in those areas. Now, just because it happened in Pacific Palisades mostly, it will affect LA County as a whole, because that is typically what gets grouped into the insurance premium rate. Now, there are thousands of people that will be making insurance claims trying to get their multi-million-dollar homes completely covered, and likely it could take years to do all of this. So in the meantime, I foresee rent prices increasing pretty significantly, because if I was a previous homeowner there, I would want to live nearby if I could. Obviously, my life is set up in that area. my work is in that area, perhaps I have kids in that area. You can't just up and move cities or move counties. More than likely, those homeowners that are battling with insurance will need to rent somewhere temporarily, perhaps a year, perhaps two, perhaps even three, if insurance wants to battle this out even longer. So I would imagine rent prices increase. Now, fortunately for them, there has been a large rise in rental inventory within the last year, and prices have softened a little bit. But I imagine in that area, this will increase the cost of rent pretty significantly. Now, the argument that people are making, saying home values will skyrocket, they're essentially looking at supply and demand. And they're saying everyone who lost their home is just going to have to buy another one. And their other argument is inventory has all of a sudden dropped. And if you are making this argument, you're saying that every single home that burned down was on the market. It was available to sell. The majority of those homes were not for sale. So, and on top of that, look at what it costs to own a house right now. If you think that someone who just lost their home is going to up and drop $500,000, $200,000 for a down payment, get into a 7.5% mortgage rate to buy a house nearby, that is absolutely not going to happen. Sure, some people will do it, but not all 2,000 or 3,000 of them who lost their house. That is unthinkable to consider that as a possibility. In my opinion, home values in the area will more than likely decline. With the fire insurance premiums increasing drastically, buyer demand for the area is going to fall off a cliff. There is no way there's all of a sudden going to be thousands of people who say, I want to buy a house near Pacific Palisades. It's all over the news that the neighborhood has just been decimated. Now, when we look at other natural disasters that occurred, what you'll notice is the areas that got destroyed, homes, neighborhoods, counties an hour, 2 hours away, those increased in value. So you're thinking Riverside County, Orange County, potentially San Diego County. I know LA County is enormous, so you could see pockets of LA County where it was an hour away from the Palisades. Those home values could likely increase as buyers flock to the areas that have not had a natural disaster recently. So when I think of home values increasing, I would look for neighboring counties outside of LA County. Now, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, so I couldn't tell you if home values are going to appreciate nearby for the remainder of the year. Obviously, supply and demand will be the main factor, but I do imagine, thinking from the consumer side of things, if I want to move to Southern California, am I going to move to an area that was recently decimated by wildfires? And the answer is absolutely not. I would want to move to areas that have lower fire risk, and that is my opinion. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think I'm getting this incorrect? Because I do see a lot of people on social media discussing this idea that this is going to cause home values in the Pacific Palisades and nearby cities to absolutely skyrocket. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.